I'm sure by now everyone has heard of ceramic coating, not the ceramic coating for headers or exhaust systems, the ceramic coating for the paint on your car. I decided why not conduct a few experiments using the ceramic coating to see if we can get any sort of better look or proof that this stuff actually works. Now, if anybody's wondering what ceramic coating actually is, it's pretty interesting. Let me show you. A rock. This rock is basically what ceramic coating is made of. You've probably heard of silicon. You've definitely heard of oxygen. Silicon is one of the most abundant elements of the Earth's crust, making up 59% of its contents. Silicon dioxide is essentially quartz, and I don't know about those other type of spray-on wipe-off ceramic coatings because this one you apply by hand. It's thick and it's made by Avalon King, but it's basically liquid quartz. To give an example, the first see-through engine I ever built, I built with transparent quartz because it's very heat resistant and hard, and apparently they found a way to put it into liquid form, which I think is pretty cool. The other thing that comes to mind is like concrete or mortar, which use a similar principle. It's a bunch of little crystals that hold together the stones that make the concrete not only very strong, but also slightly flexible. And that is what ceramic coating is. In my opinion, this is the only real type of ceramic coating because it's about 80% silicon dioxide and it seems to form like a shell on the surface of the paint. For all of my tests, I'm gonna be using this beautiful Mercedes right here. People ask to see what ceramic coating does on non-corrected paint as well as paint that's not in the best condition. Apparently, some people are more worried about protection than appearance. I'm here at my first location for my very first test with the Mercedes and probably the original Mercedes right there. Some of you might remember this location from the first see-through car episode I did. I'm gonna call this Devil's Tornado. I'm gonna try to keep some consistency here. Run the car the way it sits, unprotected, no ceramic coating, absolutely nothing, and do 10 donuts, exactly 10 donuts as fast as I can to see if I could create some sort of swirling motion with all of these rocks, dust, and garbage, pieces of wood, who knows what else is here. This should be a good example as to what happens when the car is not coated with ceramic coating. That was nice. Now that was quite a ride. That was a lot of fun. And as you can see, our car is completely covered with dust and small rocks. That test went really well. That was probably one of my favorites. This is gonna be a great testament to how the ceramic coating protects the paint. I got the car all cleaned up. I'm ready for the next test. Let's go get the pump. I'm going to get about 20 gallons of mud. Then I'm gonna just shoot it at the car at about 3.5 gallons per second. My idea here is to make it visual and see how the mud behaves with the surface of the paint without ceramic coating and then with ceramic coating. All right, hit it. All right, so that was pretty cool on the high-speed camera, spraying all that mud on the car. However, it just wasn't as thick as I thought it was gonna be. So I threw some more mud on the car by hand just to get an idea how sticky the paint is with no coating. This right here is gonna give us a really good idea for how the car handles mud with and without coating. I completely rinsed it with only water. I'm gonna let it dry and see how much mud is actually left on the surface, and then try it again after I coat the car with ceramic coating. All right, so I let the hood dry for about 24 hours. I'm just gonna wipe it once with my fingers and wipe it once with the towel. And again, this, the way it sits, is no ceramic coating. This is pretty stuck. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna clean up the car with some Windex and start the application process for the ceramic coating. Now it's time for me to apply the ceramic coating, and even after 2 car washes, look at this. I mean, it's still filthy. Look at all this dirt. That's 2 car washes. First thing I'm gonna do here, get some alcohol, clean off some of this dirt. I'm gonna separate the hood. This is gonna be the untreated side without ceramic coating, and this is gonna be the treated side with ceramic coating. 70-30 split. This is not the most professional way to do this, but these scratches are so deep that they didn't even break the surface of these scratches. So I'm gonna have to bust out the actual buffer tool and cut it a lot more. Okay, so here we are at the point of no return. Time to put the ceramic coating. I think I prepped it enough. Feeling confident about this, so just gonna dab some on here and let's do it. Oh, it looks so satisfying. Then we're gonna buff it with this microfiber cloth. After I waited, in this case, about 5 minutes. Man, I mean, I really can't show on camera how amazing it looks. Like, just looks like a layer of glass is over the paint. It's a weird look. Like it looks like there's a thin layer of glass on the actual paint. It's a different look than like using wax, because wax has like kind of a, like the oils are inside the paint or something. I'm not really sure. Wow, I'm actually impressed. And it sounds different. Hear that? It's really hard to convey how shiny this looks on camera, but I can tell you it's shiny. I'm back about 48 hours later, which is the minimum recommended time to let the ceramic coating cure. And as you can see, the weather's cooperating. It's been rainy and gloomy for days now, but I'm gonna continue on anyway with this episode and finish up these tests the best that I can. One thing I did just to get an idea for how hard the current ceramic coating is on the car is I poured some out right here in this pan. I did this at the same time I applied the coating, and as you can see, it's dried up. It still feels a little bit soft, which makes sense. That's why they want you to let this cure for like as long as possible. But here, I'm gonna just pull some of this off for you. So this is the actual ceramic coating. And at first, I was skeptical because I was like, well, is this actually a real material? Is this just snake oil? But this tells me right here that there is some solids that are definitely left behind, and this is very, very, very shiny, and it kind of matches the sheen of the current ceramic coating on the car. So I found that kind of interesting. I'm back at the spot. I'm gonna do the same 10 donuts I did before. The only difference is part of the car is ceramic coated. So let's see what happens. man. Well, actually, man, that actually made me dizzy. I think that was 10, I lost count, but that was pretty perfect. It was just boom, 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 boom. Now let's take a look at the paint. The dust accumulated on both, but that was fun. Well, surprisingly, the wind took off a lot of the dirt from the ceramic coating side. When I came out of that whole dust cloud, this was pretty evenly coated with dust. And I mean, there's still a little bit of dust on the ceramic coated side. I don't know if you could see it or not on the camera. It's definitely smooth though. Let's see this side. Oh man, look at that. I almost feel like it's like particles of sandpaper. So next, I'm gonna do the mud test the second time here with the coating. Here goes the mud on the ceramic coated part of the car. Hit it. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Look at that. All right, so let me just do the same test here, throw it on the car, and see if we're able to rinse it off. Here it goes. Ooh, that sounded like metal. And a little bit more for good measure here. Just like before, let's cake it on there real good. A little bit more, yet again, let's really cake it on there. And anybody who doubts what I'm saying about the mud, I mean, look at all that garbage inside there. There's like, I mean, this is probably the worst mud for your car ever. Now that I threw the mud more or less the same way I did before, the real test is when I go to rinse it off with just water. Because before, all that mud was inside the paint. So here we go. I mean, honestly, it rinsed right off. This is even surprising for me. I mean, it literally rinsed right off. And you can kind of see the contents of that mud. No doubt, that's all sand and rocks. It's a big old piece. Ooh. Well, I mean, looks like it works to me. But I have one more thing that I want to do that's going to be really interesting if I can pull it off. I'm going to take this old battery bank here, which is painted black, coat it with the ceramic coating, let it cure, put it in the water jet, and cut it perfectly in half. It's good enough. Let's cut it. I'm just going to cut a nice, thin, cross-sectional sliver of the aluminum. So here's my little tiny sliver of aluminum, and it looks like the ceramic coating is still intact. I don't know if you could see the shine or not on the surface. Let me put it under the microscope and see what we see. They claim that the ceramic coating creates like a protective layer on top of the paint that protects your paint from all the elements. And if that is true, we should be able to see that visually under the microscope. And if we take a look, wow, I mean, that just looks awesome. That's crazy. You can totally see the aluminum, that thin layer of paint, and then the surface of the coating. Wow, that's insane. I'm gonna just scrub down here. You could totally see, that's just incredible. You can totally see the crystals of the ceramic coating adhering to the surface of the paint right there. And there's sort of like a smooth surface on top of the crystals that looks like it might be created by the surface tension of the solution. I'm just taking a guess. But without a doubt, you can see the coating sitting right on top of the surface of the paint. That's nuts. And I'm really excited because I've been trying to get this forever. And right here looks like a spot. And again, this is under the microscope. This looks like this is a spot of the paint that has no ceramic coating right here. Just gonna keep on going down and see what I see. And this answers my question as to whether or not the ceramic coating smooths out on top of the surface of the paint. And now that I'm looking under the microscope, that's kind of self-explanatory. You can see a pocket of crystals right there. Check that out. That is just so insane. You can clearly see that the coating is on the top right there. And then let's just take a quick look at the non-coated side. That's the non-coated and that's the coated side. Non-coated and coated. And let me take one more look at the non-coated side, but I'm gonna flip it around so we have the light shining at the same angle on our non-coated side so we can make a good comparison. This is the inside and this is the lit side. And you can clearly see right away that all you have is the edge. That's all you got. You just have the edge there. You don't have any, no coating. I have been wanting to do this for so long and I actually finally pulled it off. All right, now that was pretty amazing. I'm not even gonna pretend like I pulled that feat off in the garage with that little rinky-dink light that I had in that previous shot. I had to move this whole operation into a different area with different equipment, and I ended up sanding the edge of that aluminum for about an hour on that 2000 grit sandpaper in order to get the surface of the ceramic coating, the paint, and the aluminum in the same focal plane, because our depth of field on this particular microscope, it's nanometers. So if the ceramic coating or one of those layers is a little bit lower than the other, we just won't be able to focus on it. But I found that mind-blowing. I've been wanting to do that shot for over 2 years, maybe 3 years. I really feel good that I finally pulled it off. And at the same time, I'm able to show everybody that the ceramic coating actually does make a protective layer on top of the paint. I mean, you could clearly see it in the microscope. I found that completely fascinating, and I hope that helps people understand ceramic coating a little bit better. I know it did for me. Thanks for watching. Tell me what you think in the comments below. See you in the next video. Adios. Wasn't my preferred mud test. Originally, I wanted to drive this car through a giant puddle of mud, but basically the car just pushed all the mud out to the sides or the front with that front lip on the bumper. It didn't really touch the paint much.